Yo, I was trying to think of a game that's real hip with the youth right now, but all I had was Pac-Man on Atari 2600. Kids like Pac-Man, right?
Does Pac-Man even need an introduction? I mean, it's Pac-Man. Have you heard of Mario? Have you heard of Sonic? Have you heard of Mega Man? Have you heard of Pac-Man? You've heard of Pac-Man. Pac-Man is a pretty simple arcade game. You play as this pizza eating these pellets and run away from these four ghosts, Blinky, Pinky, Inky, and Clyde. You can get these bigger pellets called power pills that make it so you can eat the ghosts. When they die, all that's left are their eyes and they respawn back in the middle of the maze that you're moving around in. There's also fruit that you can eat for extra points and extra lives. On the sides of the map, there's these tunnels that if you go in one end, you're spat out the other. And that's basically it for the main gameplay. I mean, it's Pac-Man. Now if you're a real Pac-Man aficionado, here's the hidden tactics for the ghosts as well. The four ghosts all have their own things that they do. Blinky, the red ghost, chases Pac-Man from behind. Pinky, the pink ghost, chases Pac-Man from the front, trying to ambush him. Inky, the blue ghost, is weird as shit. Inky's position is based on how far away. Blinky's position is from Pac-Man. Inky is incredibly difficult to understand, and you have to have a good knowledge of how the game works internally to even try to avoid him effectively. And then there's the orange ghost, Clyde. He just goes to the bottom of the screen if he gets too close to Pac-Man. Now throw all that ghost information I just gave you right out the window, because Atari 2600 Pac-Man does not do any of that from what I can tell. I only told you this because when am I going to get to tell you about the inner workings of Pac-Man ghosts? I have a lot of arcane knowledge that I need to dispose of, or else I get very antsy. Now let's get into the game. Sorry for the guerrilla-style videography, but I don't really have a way to capture footage from the console, so bear with me while I just point a camera at my TV. Thankfully, I'm playing on the Atari 2600 Plus, so we have full HD Atari games, if that's what you want. I know some purists aren't a big fan of it, but I really enjoy it. In Pac-Man on the Atari 2600, you do mostly the same thing as the original arcade game. Except now, Pac-Man is eating what appears to be macaroni noodles, and the fruits look more like rectangles with a smaller rectangle in the middle. Apparently they're called the vitamin. Also, the tunnels around the top and the bottom instead of the size of the maze like the original arcade machine, and in general the maze is completely different in order to fit the size of a standard television screen. For some reason, the maze is orange and blue, and when you die it turns other colors. I'm starting to think that the power pills Pac-Man has been eating are doing some other things to him besides making him eat ghosts. The game doesn't have any of the cutscenes like the original, and the sounds, oy vey. Just listen. Is he eating pellets or is he shitting himself with each step? You tell me. And if you expected music, well get ready bub, cause here's your music. I know Atari couldn't do much, but wow. The ghosts are constantly flickering since the game is trying to get a decent frame rate. I didn't even know sprite flicker could be this bad on Atari, but here it is. You also can't tell the ghosts apart at all, so that's why the ghost rules don't apply here. They literally can't, because the ghosts all look the same. Pac-Man's speed and the ghost speed can differ depending on what mode you're playing, but that's about it. I'm just playing on mode 1 for simplicity's sake. Yeah, modes. Every Atari has these switches. On the Atari 2600 Plus, you have the on and off switch, a switch for color and black and white, the mode switch, which switches between different game modes in games, and often does fuck all to the actual game itself, and the reset switch, which you'll be hitting a lot in this game, because you die constantly. You can also mess around with these switches on the back near the controller ports to make the power pills not last as long, but who would want to do that? If it's set to A, power pills don't last very long. If it's set to B, they last the normal amount of time. Mine is switched to B, and even then the power pills maybe last 5 seconds. It's ridiculous. I don't even want to know what A mode is like. There is a 2-player mode, however, much like the original Super Mario Bros. On the NES, it's not really a 2-player mode, but instead alternating players. When someone dies, the other person gets to join in. I have no strong opinions on this one way or another. It exists. The controls are goofy as shit. You get a joystick, which is a plus, since playing Pac-Man with a directional pad is terrible. Seriously, NES Pac-Man was a mistake.
So it's kind of weird how this is controlled. You don't just push it in the direction that you want, you know, up, down, left, right. Instead, what you want to do is you almost want to just tap it like this. Like, watch what I'm doing. Like, I'm basically doing this the whole game. And it might seem weird, but it's actually relatively comfortable once you get used to it. Once you start doing this, where you're more or less just kind of tapping it back and forth without really holding it down, it actually works really well. Granted, sometimes it doesn't work, but I'd say 9 times out of 10, if it's feeling like it, it'll do it.
60% of the time, it works every time.
Power pills, like I mentioned before, don't do shit half the time, since they barely last a few seconds and these ghosts will not stop hounding you, so use your pills wisely. In general, the ghosts are just a pain to get around. This game is less about avoiding ghosts carefully and more about outsmarting their dumbass AI. These guys are not always fun to deal with. Sometimes they're on your ass and sometimes they aren't, and when they are, you have to like fucking juke them every time just to get around. You have to move back and forth and then go the opposite way just to confuse them so you can go the way you want it. It is such a pain. This game is less about points and more about endurance as well. How long can you keep going? Nothing really changes between levels from what I can tell, but I can't seem to get past more than a few before dying, and this is an Atari game we're talking about. They're not that complex. I don't think I'm missing that much. But seriously, this game is fucking bullshit sometimes. I can't seem to win any of the levels. The power pills don't seem to do shit. Fun fact, did you know that Pac-Man was originally called Puck-Man in the States? He was changed to Pac-Man because people were afraid that people would scratch out the P and make it an F. Basically, so it would say fuck man. And fuck man, this game is kicking my ass!
Fuck this game. I'm fucking done with this. I'm throwing this thing out a goddamn window. What the fuck? It was set to A. The difficulty was set to A this entire time. No wonder why I can't fucking kill any of the ghosts. No wonder why I can't win. It's been on the wrong goddamn setting. This is the default setting. Who does this? I know it's my fault for not looking, but still. Who looked at this and went, yeah, we should have the default setting be hard mode.
I guess I have to give my actual review on the game now, after my little explosion. Some people have called this the worst game of all time. Some people have also called it the worst Atari game of all time. This is far from the worst game I've ever played. It functions. A lot of Atari games can't even do that. Not to mention, people nowadays look at this through the lens of the modern gamer. At the time of its release, it was just cool to see Pac-Man in the living room. Sure, he had those mini arcade machine toys, but those things were glorified calculators. I don't have one, but I've seen them in person, and they sucked even for the time. Pac-Man was the highest selling game on the 2600, and for good reason. It's fucking Pac-Man. It doesn't need to be anything more. It could be better, but remember, this was before Nintendo gave us the NES. This was before Sega gave us the Master System. This is way better than a lot of games in the 2600. If this is deemed to be on the same level as Superman 64, we have failed as a society. This game is alright. Surprisingly, I had a decent amount of fun with it, even with its problems. Like, it wasn't amazing, but it was fun. I like Atari games, and I like Pac-Man. It has its issues, but it's still Pac-Man at the end of the day. For this review alone, I played this thing for like 30 minutes, and again, even though it was a pain in the ass to understand the controls, and it was a pain in the ass to avoid the ghosts, it was still fun. It was Pac-Man. I had fun with it. What can I say? I can't even complain about having it switched to the wrong setting, since that was on me. I should have checked. Although the second setting being the easiest is dumb. You'd assume it would automatically start you on easy, not hard. But again, this is Atari we're talking about. They made the Jaguar. But the question still remains. Is this truly the worst game of all time? No, are you fucking serious?
But now it's Pac-Man. Yeah, it's the Pac-Man. I love to gobble up those dots. Keep pumping quarters in the slots.
Hello.
I'm gonna talk like this, motherfucker.
Okay, on to the review.